Hi, this is Sam from Refraction Audio. Today we're going to be going over Acustica Audio's new plugin called Jade and how you can get the most out of it. Okay, first things first, before we dive into all the bells and whistles of this plugin, what I'm going to teach you how to do first is properly gain stage. So Acustica Audio samples analog hardware directly using their technology. And so analog hardware runs best at a certain volume level. This level is 0 VU, calibrated at minus 18 decibels RMS. In other words, it's going to peak around minus 12 decibels, but we want the average to be at minus 18. So what I did first up here is I pulled up a VU meter, and what we're going to try to do is we're going to turn up the output or turn down the output until this is right around 0 VU as an average. And if we do that properly, what we're going to get out of this plugin is the best sound. So this plugin is calibrated to this minus 18 decibels RMS value or 0 VU value. So if we get it there, it's going to sound the best. So let's do it real quick, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let's play the audio. Okay, so what I just did here is I moved down the output until this was hovering right around 0 VU, as an average. You just want it to be real close to this. Getting it exact doesn't really matter that much. And so here's what we're going to do from here. So what Acustica Audio has is this input trim knob. And if we move this up and down, it's not going to change the output volume. This is essentially your gain stage volume. So what we did is we turned down the output by, say 5 decibels. So where this input trim, where we need it to be, is right about here. And so once we get it here, this is going to be the proper input trim for this plugin. Now it is calibrated. So we're going to move this output back up to 0, like that. And now the plugin is properly calibrated, and we don't need this VU meter anymore. So now it's properly gain staged. When you download the Jade plugin, you'll notice that it comes with 2 main plugins. The first one is the main channel strip plugin, and the second one is an equalizer only plugin. So real quick, what are the differences between these? So on the channel strip, we also have a compressor and limiter. And what's kind of interesting about this is it also comes with a routing option. So you can go EQ to compressor to limiter, or you can do this in any order you'd like. I think that is a really cool feature of this. What I noticed when I was playing around with the compressor and limiter sections is I think with the Acustica Audio technology, however they sample this, I just don't think they quite get the compressors or limiters quite right in this. Real quick before I show you the attack, if you set this at 4 and 0, this will most accurately emulate the SSL bus compressor, which I noticed that people use the most. So this will have an attack of 35 milliseconds, and this will have a release of 85 milliseconds. So those are the closest settings that you'll get to the SSL bus compressor, which everyone loves the most. So I thought I'd just share that real quick. Okay, with that being said, I'm not as big of a fan of the compressor or limiter parts of this plugin, but where I think Acustica Audio shines the most is in the equalizer section. So I'm going to exit out of this. I already tested this beforehand, just not a big fan of it. But let's go to the equalizer section because this is where I think this plugin will help you the most in your mixes. First thing we're going to want to do, just like we did last time, is properly gain stage this plugin now that we're just using the EQ. So how we're going to do this is we're going to move the output up and down till this VU meter hovers right around 0, and then we're going to adjust the input trim to match whatever that output trim level is. And then we're going to reset the output to 0 just so we're not lowering the volume at the end of the day. So real quick, this is how it'll look. Okay, now we have a properly gain trim level. So that's the first thing I always recommend doing with these Acustica Audio plugins. And okay, the next step that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to pick the best preamp that we can for this particular song, or instrument you're working on. So let's real quickly go over what these are. In the manual, it says that A and B are both British models. And C is a mysterious equalizer. To me, it sounds the most like manly gear. And D is a mysterious preamp that's not mentioned in the manuals. So okay, let's go over and let's see how they sound. Okay, so what I noticed the most is A has a nice smooth frequency response. Not too bad, add some harmonics to it. I think with B, I think you'll actually hear a kind of a boost in the low end, maybe around 40, 50 hertz or so. And there's maybe a slight dip in the low mids, maybe around 200 hertz or so. So let's take a listen. I'll go off to B and listen for that low end bump that I'm hearing. Okay, pretty nice. C1 and C2, they kind of sound like manly gear to me. I'm not sure what they are officially because that hasn't been released yet. And what I get with D is, the most harmonics out of all of these. So if you're really looking to add analog flavor and warmth to it, D will definitely give you the most harmonics. So we'll go from D to off, and we'll show you the difference. EQs are really nice on this plugin. I don't really like the spread too much. I think the free Ozone Imager has the best stereo function of any plugin. So I do recommend you use that one instead of this one. So now let's go over the equalizers. What's really cool about this, so if it's on the power button here, that means the equalizer is off. So there are two equalizer sections. So if we click through, you have A, which is the same as this one. We have B, so it'll change the values here, and C. So what we have up here, these are your lower frequencies. So if you want to adjust lower frequencies, let's do it up here. And it's nice that it gives you an option between A, B, and C. So let's say we wanted to, bump it up at 40 hertz. Let's listen to how this sounds. So I think that's really nice. I'll go through B and C, and what's kind of nice about this is if you cycle through B and C, it'll automatically choose the closest values to where you were at beforehand. So let's go over that. Okay, so let's kind of mess around with this. Okay, so actually take that back. It doesn't cycle through to the closest values you had before. So when you cycle through these, just be cognizant of what frequencies it's going to be on each time, because they are different for each one. But what's really nice about this is you get 3 equalizers in one. And so let's do the same thing on the high end. Real quick, let's kind of go back to what we had before. These are just rough EQs. We're not doing this precisely right now. But let's go to the high frequencies. Let's see if we can find a nice high shelf, for instance. Okay, now that we've heard this plugin, I actually really like this plugin. I think it is a great value for the money. Right now on Acustica Audio, it is only 89 euros, roughly $100 US. So I think that is a great deal right now. You get 4 different preamps, and these are really nice because you'll get nice analog flavor in your mixes. So I highly recommend this plugin to anyone out there looking to add analog flavor to your mixes. Okay, that's it. If you'd like any mixing and mastering, please go to refractionaudio.com. Okay, have a good one. Goodbye.